I'm David Backus. I'm the department chair of the Journalism, Advertising, and Media Studies Department, and I've been a professor at GWM for 27 years. What I've liked best about teaching over this whole time period has been, in a sense, I guess you could say I learned how to teach during those 27 years. In the old days, I just did what was done to me in my college days, which was that old standard lecture approach, and then students take the notes and spit back the answers at exam time. I never really liked that, and a while after I started here, I went to a workshop that talked about all of this educational research showing how that standard lecture approach really is about the least effective approach to help most people learn. And they advocated a much more interactive approach, and I loved that idea. And when I had my first sabbatical, I decided to give it a shot, and I created my nature and culture course at that time, which was very interactive, and taught that in the fall of 1998. And for the first time, and the reaction to that from the students was so positive that I totally changed how I taught everything from that moment on. My passion has been with the outdoors, the environment, my training, my educational background, environmental studies, heavily on that side. And so I'm passionate about helping people reconnect with nature. If I were to come up with a couple of qualifying words that I think can describe me, one for sure is hope. Another would be healing, and another would be joy. I'm a hopeful person. So, for example, when I talk about the dangers, what we're facing with climate change, for example, that's a very hard thing to talk about because a lot of Americans don't want to think of anything that they think of as negative. They'd rather not think about it. To me, that's not hopeful. That's trying to avoid reality. I believe it's possible to face reality and then be hopeful. I have been very good at bringing healing to many situations, but again, people have to want it. And then joy. Joy, for me, isn't a synonym of happiness. Joy is really best defined as, classically defined as, aliveness, or zest for life. So joyful people, they cry easily and they laugh easily because they have that zest for life. And for better or worse, that has been me. I think some people just think I'm insane because I can cry watching SpongeBob, but I can also laugh hysterically. There's so much in us and around us to be grateful for, and I find that gratitude always leads to that zest for life. I didn't want to be one of those people who stayed until I didn't like teaching. That's part of it. I wanted to go out while I still loved it. And that's relatively easy for me compared to some people because I don't define myself by this job. I could easily have another 27 years, just like I've had 27 years here. And so it's like I'm about to start a whole new career. I don't know what it's going to be yet, and I'm excited about finding that out. So that's part of it. Another incentive for me to retire early is the fact that my parents died fairly young, and I wanted to make sure I had, if I died in their time frame, I wanted to make sure I had at least a few years of total freedom to do these other things that I'll be exploring. Not everybody knows my story. I know what it's like to struggle as a student. I just about flunked out. I had a 1.3 grade point at one point. It's hard to come back from that. So part of what's happened to me shows that it's possible to come back even what seems awful at the time. Another thing that I've learned through that experience and then everything that's happened to me since then is we need you to figure out who it is that you're supposed to be. We need you to figure out who you are, what is it that you're best at and are really meant to do. It will make you the most fulfilled, yeah, but that's also how you're going to make the most difference for the world. When I was close to flunking out and I was really depressed about school, I felt like dropping out, I wrote to a famous nature writer, wilderness preservationist named Sigurd Olsen. I just read one of his books and it had really touched me, and I thought he and I thought the same way about things, and I couldn't talk to my parents about wanting to try. I was the last of 4 kids and everybody was quote unquote successful except for me. So I wrote to Sig and I got a letter back from him very quickly, within 6 days, that basically said stay in school, but it was just the fact that he wrote. He remembered what it was like, and I've always done the same thing because I know what it's like to just feel like you're stupid, to feel like you can't amount to anything, to feel the pressures of parents and friends and teachers all upon you, and in reality you're far more valuable than that, and what matters is the difference that you're supposed to make, and nothing else matters. The degree doesn't matter, the grades don't matter. It seems like it does at the time, but they're just part of this journey that you have to undertake for yourself. Sure, I could have stayed on and taught some more, but I feel like I'm supposed to move on now.